Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here, coming at you with a new series called Meta Watch. Joining me is
Who
Rye. How you doing, buddy?
watches the meta that watches the meta.
That's
It's like
right.
Watchmen, but with Yu-Gi-Oh!
So if you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way you'll be alerted when we do other videos like this. So
Mhm.
this week we're going to be doing Kara Curry out of the new box.
Yes.
Obviously, Kara Curry's been around before. They got power crept immensely. They haven't been around for at
hmm
least a year, maybe longer. But there's new support, and we have evidence, sir, that maybe they're a deck to watch.
Yeah. So Kara Curry just came out, like we said. We've had 3 tournaments under our belt, each with Kara Curry being played in all of them. Obviously, the day the box came out on Monday, Tuesday, the little bit of optimization, and then finally Wednesday, where they won a battle phase. So very, very, very strong opening case here. Me and Circus have talked before how Infernity won a tournament in its like first week being released. Winning a tournament on your third day, there's something to unpack there for sure as far as the meta goes. And the important question is, will it actually warp the meta around it, or is it just one of those kind of, Lunalite situations where it's like, okay, this deck's annoying, but as long as
Once
I
we
know it's
figure
here,
it
it's not,
out,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not a big problem. So
Well, not
that's what we're
only
gonna
did
kind of
it win a
explore.
battle phase, it was in a mirror match, right?
It was in a mirror match. That means Kara Curry not only defeated obviously one of the finals, but also defeated both sides of the bracket. And that battle phase that it won had a 100% conversion rate. All 4 players that played Kara Curry that day went from Swiss to top 32. That is absolutely insane.
So let's talk about the deck a little bit. I haven't really seen it a whole lot in action. So
Sure.
is it still the old Karakuri that we know where we're trying to get into Blu-ray and kind of like we're
Um,
trying to draw our whole deck and try to draw into our outs and
Kind of, but at a more in a more advanced level. Pretend like your favorite TV show just got a reboot and it's got all
okay,
new animation and everything. The story is
nice.
still the same. It's a continuation of the story, but the animation is great. It's in HD now, and and the dialogue's a little bit more modern as well.
Okay,
That's the best way
okay.
to kind of explain it. If you actually want to toss up the one of the decks,
Sure.
probably from one of the first days, on our box review, me and Kamel, when we were reading the Karakuri cards, we were not fully convinced with Karakuri. But the one thing that we sort of overlooked is how powerful the new trap card is, Karakuri Cash In.
Okay.
That card is absolutely bonkers. And the tuner being summonable, or searchable too, is super amazing
So
as we
this
get
is the
into it.
deck list that took second place in Battle
Mhm.
Phase EU.
Yep. So you can kind of see the 2 brand new cards being used, the new level 5, and
Hmm.
the trap card, the cash in. Everything else you've seen before in Kara Curry, minus of course the trap cards that he's using in there. Um, so the big thing with this is restart is pretty much the best skill with this, because this deck does not care about skipping a battle phase. The merchant, the level 2 you see there, the SR, he obviously can search for pretty much any card
Hmm.
you want. So if you start with him, or if you start with a Nanishi with a cash, the SR spell card, you're able to draw a crazy amount of cards from your deck. And if you look at the extra deck, once you get your big burrito guy, the level 8 synchro, every time your Karakuri switches attack defense position once per turn, you get to draw a card as well. So
Okay.
if you're able to even initiate him, you won't even see your restart deficit whatsoever. It's just about opening up the perfect hand, the starting hand, to kind of go with it. Um, I think the person that won also played Anatomy at
Hmm.
2 or something like that. And of course, if you see that deck, if you see that card, they can just draw 2 off of that. Now, the 2 important new cards here that you're seeing, the level 5 can be special summoned from your hand, and becomes a level 5 tuner. So that
Ooh,
means
okay.
no more reason to run things like level Og, level dupe, anything like that. You don't need to run those anymore, because now he becomes a tuner, which lets you do your synchro plays at a faster rate without having to use a skill to get any of your synchros out, essentially. You can also see there super heavies considered meta now. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, we're starting to see
People,
those teched into a lot of deck or more decks, I should say.
yeah, this one he lets you bring back either the your tuners essentially if you want, from the grave, so it's really really powerful. Of course, the secondary effect, the one because you have spell and traps in your graveyard, usually you probably won't be able to summon it that turn, but has really great value in that. And of course, it can still swing. It's still a machine, so it still very works very well with this archetype because when you use a level 5 tuner, you're locked into machines. So he becomes valuable in that aspect as well.
Now, the level 8, the Burrito, as I call
Mhm.
it, that's been out for a while, but it just never saw a play before. What changed this
Yeah,
time around?
it's just way too difficult to really get into the burrito like comfortably
Hmm.
without using level duplication back in the day. It's just a very awkward level at that level 8, and you had to play multiple Karakuris, kind of the Karakuri, the Nanishi and the Merchants, kind of the ones that people are sitting on. So what's making it so nice now, right, is you can do the Nanishi, the level 3, and then you can bring out the level 5 tuner without actually making it a tuner. You don't have to make it a tuner if you don't special summon it.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay. So when it's
you can
special summon, it becomes the
yeah,
tuner.
it's
Okay,
special summon with its effect, the
okay.
effect of making something go into defense mode and then go from there. So you can make it through just simply through that. The merchant is a one card synchro. You literally search the tuner, special summon, go into burrito special or not burrito, the bure special summons a monster from the deck, synchro summon again, extended plays, extended plays, extended plays.
Okay.
So it's just easier to get into. It's much easier to end on a board with Burrito, Beret, and then whatever third card you want, or at the very least a Beret and a super heavy Samurai card.
Hmm.
And
How
of course, with Cash, you can search your deck as well.
the cash? I always
The
like
Cash
calling it
Cash,
the cash
yeah, Cash
cash.
Cash.
How we're relying? I mean, we see a lot of back row hate here. I see two
Mhm.
Hatronade and two Cosmic Cyclone. Is it really reliant on the Hatronade?
It is very reliant on the Hatronade, as from the versions that we have seen so far. That being said, because if you look at the other version, I think the version that won still played Trunade but didn't play Cosmic Cyclone.
Okay.
So the Trunade, what allows it to, if it goes second, you're still able to establish your entire because it is a huge synchro combo deck. So any form of disruption will pretty much kill it. But the advantage of this deck versus other decks that use Hatronade is it's able to actually draw into those outs very reliably.
Okay.
If you can't search a certain card, drawing until you get it is the next best
Right.
thing you can do. You know what I mean?
That was
It's not
always
like
the
black.
strength of the deck before,
Yeah,
was just you could draw half your
exactly.
deck in one turn. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times, when you see people playing, they will go down from their whatever 14, 15 cards they have all the way down to like 9 cards left in their deck before their turn one's even over, which is pretty insane. And then of course, the burrito, his effect is once per turn, not just your turn. So you can draw on your opponent's turn as
Oh,
well,
nice.
which is crazy because the cash in trap card, you put a monster in defense mode to negate a monster effect, which is already a powerful effect in itself. Negating monster effects
Hmm.
is very, very strong in Duel Links, where monster effects is king, essentially. But on top of that, the turn it goes to the grave, even you don't have to wait a whole turn like Magician's Navigation. You can use it to switch a monster's battle position on either side of the board.
Oh, nice.
Um, so
Yeah.
think of it as a Sphere Karibo from the grave, but on steroids. It's even better than Sphere Karibo because you can just use it whenever. And of course, that's even more beneficial when you think of things like Samurai Destroyer, which is now like I would even argue go as far to say is like Samurai Destroyer is the actual boss monster of this deck,
Hmm.
because you can do crazy things like swing into Casitas with Samurai Destroyer, and then once his effect goes off or it turns off other monster effects, you activate the cash from your graveyard, put Casitas in attack mode. Casitas is dead. He can't do anything in
Oh,
that
nice.
situation.
Now,
And of course, cash is also not cash. Sorry, cash in is searchable, so you can like guarantee that play.
Now the old version of the deck, the problem was the core was very large, and yes,
Hmm.
you could draw into your deck, but a lot of times you were just drawn into stuff that you couldn't use, or maybe it
Right.
wasn't as you really had. It was like a duelist challenge where like you really had to think out
Seriously.
how can I beat my opponent here.
Right,
Where
right, right.
how is this version? Does it actually maybe not OTK potential, but does it have like good attacking capabilities, or what's the strength of it? What are you
Absolutely.
trying to do?
So the core has gotten much better. You can see it's much cleaner on
Hmm.
your list. Pretty much most builds you'll see will have the Nanishi, the Merchant, and I forget the name, but the new UR level 5
Hmm.
will have those, and then the Cash and the Cash Ins. After that, everything else you see, the Cosmics, the True Nade, the Ballista, the Karmas, that's all text based. So, and then
Which
of
is
course all
nice,
those,
yeah.
which is yeah, and all those cards are searchable. All the card curry cards search themselves essentially, which is really good because you can thin your deck before you go drawing into either your anatomy or your burrito. So it's crazy. I actually had a couple of practice duels with X Mango yesterday, just playing kind of meme cards against him, and the amount of times he either drew into True Nade or opened True Nade, because you're also playing Restart on top of
Oh,
all that,
right. Yep.
which boosts your starting hand consistently. So if you brick and then you brick again with Restart, you're just like really unlucky, which we actually saw in the finals. But the chances of you opening your tech cards are just so much better because your core gets much tighter and cleaner as well. You don't have to play random cards, and obviously as people optimize and kind of decide what Karakuri's and what ratios they play, you'll see different Karakuri's from time to time. Like you see the level 4. I think before it was like you bring out your Brute Ray, you bring out the level 4 that like 1400 attack, and that was 4K exact. So the plan was try to OTK with those 2 cards. You don't even see that card being played anymore in the current version
Right.
of Karakuri.
Are we just playing
So
a synchro beatdown deck? Is that what we're doing? Or
yeah,
are there effects that can help
essentially
you
you're
out?
gonna go into synchro beatdown with the assistance of whatever the tech cards you bring in.
Okay.
So this is like it becomes kind of like that toolbox kind of idea of a deck. So for example, cash in is super amazing because controlling monsters battle positions very rarely will you have a monster that has high attack and defense. One or the other is going to be lower than the other, and a lot of times you can even use it aggressively. You could put something in attack to swing for lethal. Like for example, Witchcrafter Veer, she cannot activate her effect to boost her attack points or any monster's attack points for that matter until the damage calc. Well, Samurai Destroyer says you can't use your effects
Right. You can't even do
beyond that.
that.
Yeah, so if a Samurai Destroyer, either you had to negate early, so you weren't able to negate him before he swings in, or we just forgot to negate him for whatever reason. If he's swinging in and you're in defense mode, he can just turn you into attack mode, and there you go. He swings over you. You can't really do much at that point. So even though their monsters don't really go beyond, I think 2800 is the highest for the Burrito. That, and of course Beret himself can also change monsters' positions as well.
Right.
That just being able to do that is super super powerful in dueling specifically, where there's no main phase 2, so you don't really have control of your monsters battle positions once they change past the main phase. And of course you do have Star Eater for like that, guaranteeing the lethal 3200 to the face, no effects can affect him, stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, this is more of a control oriented OTK deck. If something gets limited to and they lose True Nade, it's probably going to be more control oriented than the OTK orient. But right now, it's very good at getting the OTK because drawing the Hey True Nade is no problem whatsoever for them.
But remember, folks, Samurai Destroyer, one of the best staples in the game. That's why it's in our
Yep.
staples video for Synchro Staples. Make sure to check that one out. So why don't we look at the winning deck from Battle Phase EU? Let's see the differences here.
Yeah, so this is another version. You can see here he's playing the Forbidden Lances instead of the Cosmic Cyclone, which is a super interesting idea because obviously Cosmic Cyclone is more of a like randomly hit cards, right? You don't know what's exactly going to happen, but Lance allows you to be more reactive. So if your opponent has Karma Cut and then 2 dead cards, or not dead cards, but they're not going to like stop your combo. If you random Cosmic, you might not hit the Karma Cut.
Right.
But if you just hold on to your Lance and then start your plays, they Karma Cut you, Lance, you're protected.
Right.
So it's a
it's a
very
lot
interesting.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
It
different
can
schools of
be.
thought,
Yeah, it
Yeah,
can be.
yeah. So it's one of those things where we'll probably see where the optimization kind of comes in, which one ends up beating the other. Obviously, both of these players did very well in a mirror match. This deck was probably better in a mirror just because Offerings to the Doomed is
I was about
ridiculous
to
in a
say, this
mirror.
guy doesn't care about drawing in his draw phase because he's
And
got
this deck
offerings
does.
and restart.
Yeah, and this deck, it doesn't even care. It doesn't even care. There was
Yeah.
people, I remember when we were streaming, people were like, "Oh, well, he used Offerings, so he's in a good position, but he's not going to be able to draw next turn." And I took one look at them, and I was like, "He's fine." And then that very turn, he drew 3 cards in that single
Right.
turn. So it was just like, who cares if you
Right.
don't get your draw phase? If you're going to draw 3 anyway, it's insane.
And I see he's playing the trap at 1 because you said it's
Playing the
searchable,
trap
so
at 1.
maybe 1 is better than 2
Yeah, so
down the
he's
road.
going for a more OTK variant. Of course, he's got the Offerings to clear the board quickly and kill very, very quickly. A note to keep is he was X and 1 in Swiss, and the other player was X and 0, so the other player was undefeated in Swiss. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Something that this deck
Swiss
does
don't
seem.
count though, man. It's a
Swiss
whole new
don't
season
count.
when you get to the top 32. Whole
There
new
you go.
season.
Just be undefeated. But something to keep in mind as well is how different these builds are and how successful they still remain.
Right.
And that's going to be important because of potential ban listings that may happen to them. A lot of people, they don't really want to think about the potential of a new deck being hit with ban list. And while that's, like a good thought, decks historically that have main decked Hey Trunade
They get
get hit
hit.
really, really, really fast. Konami does not like that card.
I
On
don't know
top
why
of
they
that,
released it at this point.
yeah, at this point, seriously. And after like the first day of tournaments, Karakuri did not look good. I'll be completely honest. That first day of tournaments on Monday,
Mhm.
Karakuri looked really bad. I don't even know if any topped. But ever since then, they have been doing very well. They figured out what deck list they want to play, and they are destroying tournaments to the point where that battle phase EU that Wednesday when they had Meta Weekly after the Karakuri final, you saw people starting to do system down in the extra deck. So already it's starting to warp the meta a little bit. Yes, you can see here the Witchcrafter player who won the tournament. There's actually a hilarious clip if you go into our Twitch now. It has like 200 views now. It's like our
Oh,
third
really?
most viewed Twitch clip.
That's
He made
awesome.
Fortune Lady Every, and he swung in a Samurai Destroyer, which caused him to lose the game. He claimed it was low on time, but they were both low on time. So come on. It's one of those
That's
things where it's
funny.
like, all right. But now this player is playing system down. So it's like that's going to be a trend that you're going to start seeing, especially with Crystron's kind of being on the up and up a little bit too. I think system
Sheen
down is going
decks,
to
yep.
start coming back a little bit here with meta warping type of thing. But
Like,
yeah, that being said, back to the ban list that I was talking about. There's a few reasons to be concerned about a ban list going into this deck. Number one, Konami doesn't like True Nade decks. Number two, and probably more importantly, is a lot of these cards come from an older box. So in Konami's mind, that justifies nerfing. It was exactly what happened with Blackwings. The older Blackwings cards got hit. Exactly what happened with Thunder Dragons, the old free-to-play cards when
mhm.
11 Year came out, they got hit. So any one of these cards that
Oh,
are in
it's
those old
Merchant to 2 or
boxes,
something,
yeah,
right? Merchant
Merchant
to
or
2.
Nanishi or
Yep.
Cash, like all these cards that are core to your deck working, even the Synchro, the Bure, and the Burrito for that matter, even
Yeah.
even that, all of those could potentially be hit. Hell, even Samurai Destroyer could be hit, and that would be devastating for
Right.
more than just this deck. So that is a scary aspect to keep in mind when you're investing into this deck. And of course, a third and kind of minute point, because it just depends on what comes out. XCs, when XCs comes out, eventually the meta will completely shift. It's just not going to be the similar meta. It might not be that box, it may not be that mini box even, but within a couple months of XCs changing, a lot of these decks will just not be represented anymore because XCs will just change how the game's played at a core level.
All right. So you bring up a good point that, a lot of this deck is from an older box.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I am a new player, Rye. Should I
Mm-hmm.
go into the old box to get these cards?
So I will tell you exactly what I tell everybody when they want to be like, okay, do I go into this new box because the meta might be changing? Da 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 da. If you play in tournaments, which DLE is a fantastic place to play in tournaments because they're all free.
What? I
Yeah,
never knew
amazing.
that.
Free to enter 172 free player slots.
Right
So
into
if
the
you want
plug. I love this
to,
guy.
so if you want to play tournaments, right? This deck, I would wait 1 week. So we're almost there, starting with battle phase, I guess anti phase if you really want to do it, but battle phase Monday. I would prefer battle phase Monday because anti phase is another big tournament that we have. So just wait until all of them get played. And plus, this last anti phase didn't have the box. So
Right.
this would be the first anti phase with the new box. So I would wait till battle phase Monday, see the results from all of the tournaments that are available. So depending on what kind of data you prefer, there's a lot of free tournaments, there's the paid tournaments, there's all sorts of tournament data.
There's the
You'll
power
be
rankings.
there's the power rankings as well. There's so many different
Yep.
things that'll give you the statistics of what this deck will do.
And it's
And
good to study
then
them all.
yeah, and then I would comfortably say yes, go into Karakuri if it's still performing very well, because at that point, if it's doing well for an entire week versus just doing well in a single day, of course it's worthwhile going into. People are winning with it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because that's the problem we saw with Infinities, right?
And
They
for
came
yeah,
out, Shiny won a
yeah,
tournament, and
and then
people are
after
like,
that, I was like,
It's
wow,
time, they're here, baby." The
yeah, yeah.
hype was, the hype was so high on that deck
Hmm.
that people were just
And
jumping
then
on anything.
exactly, and then if you're a more cautious buyer, You don't really play that many tournaments to begin with. You're just more of a, I play maybe once a week, twice a week max. That's it. I would wait 2 weeks just to make absolutely sure, because in that second week, I'm telling you, it happens every single time a new deck enters the meta. Everyone side decks for that new deck. It doesn't even matter if no one's
Right.
playing it. Like, remember we saw Crystron's, no one was barely entering, and there was 3 system down, and like everybody's side deck.
Yeah,
So
they're just worried about it.
let's see how the deck also adapts to being heavily targeted for bans. And then if it's still doing well at that point, you're good to go at that point. If you're free to play, do not go into this deck.
No.
This deck is crazy expensive
Yeah, there's a
for
lot of
free to play.
URs there.
There's a lot of URs. The Karakuri's themselves, it's between 3 boxes now, if I'm not mistaken. There's the original Karakuri box.
Yeah,
Burrito is
and there
on his
was
own, and he's core. You need at least one copy of Burrito, and then the new box. It's quite insane.
now a
So
telltale sign is if this becomes a tier 1 deck, that means it's not very good.
yeah, if it becomes
That means
tier
it's
one, it's
not going
not
to win a
that good.
tournament, guaranteed.
Yeah, there you go.
Once you
Um,
get off of the tier list, you start doing well. Hello, Kristrons.
there you go. Feels bad. Yeah, Chris Rons have been doing really well. Right, they won a
Yep.
battle phase too, so they actually won the $50 battle phase. Funny enough, but yeah, yeah. If you're free to play, I would avoid this deck. It is way too expensive. It is a good deck, so if you're free to play and you already have the core Karakuri, like way back in the day, you invested in them, go ahead, go for it. But if you're
Right.
brand new to the game, I would avoid this deck. The boxes that you're going into, you're not really even going to be getting that much. Like Karma Cut's amazing, obviously, and will probably become a staple. So that's good for the newer stuff. But it does feel really bad to go into old boxes. Even if they have good techs in them, it's going into old boxes, especially when you get dream tickets. It's you'd rather do that instead of go into those old boxes.
Yeah, it's hard to say what's actually going to stick around for such a long time because we might have been
Yeah.
saying this about Invoked and Element Sabers when they first came out,
Mhm.
but here we are, this so many months later, trying to decide our car or curry going to be worth it. I
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
We're so close to a new world, so close to a new summoning
yeah.
mechanic. Is synchro
Yeah.
summoning just going to fall by the wayside, or like fusion summoning? When
Mhm.
synchros came out, fusion summoning just went through the roof. Are
Yeah.
we going to see the real era of synchros when
Right,
XZs comes
right,
out?
right. And here's the thing, a lot of players, that are not entering tournaments, if you're just, like, going for King of Games and stuff like that, you have no reason not to wait. You know what I mean? Just
Right,
save your gems, only spend them when they're expiring at that point. Unless you're struggling to hit King of Games, there's no reason to go into Karakuri right
right.
now. Wait until XCs drop. Wait until a month, 2 months into XCs. See how XCs is doing. And if Karakuri is still in the meta, similar to how Invoked and Neos and all those decks when they were introduced and we told you to wait, and all of a sudden they've been here for like a whole year straight, just wait 2 or 3 months and then invest, and you'll be good to go from there.
Yep.
If you're not playing any tournaments or anything like that, there's absolutely no reason to invest into anything unless you're going to do like KC Cup or something. And even then, you don't need like the latest
Yeah,
and newest
I
deck for
wouldn't
KC
go
Cup.
crazy on any kind of in-game stuff. Like King of Games. I know for a lot of people, maybe you haven't gotten it yet. It seems like it's the pinnacle of Duel Links. Once you do it a couple times, it's like I don't even bother anymore. I can't be bothered to
Right,
do it. So I wouldn't go heavily into anything just for a King of Games deck.
right,
May
right.
I
So
could see like if you just want to have bragging rights in a KC Cup and say, hey, I got top 100 with Noble Knights. Let's say I don't know if anybody's ever done that, but let's
no,
say you
never.
want to do something like that. Then that's a little bit different because then you can always take your screenshot, you get the
Sure,
icon, whatever. That's pretty
sure,
cool.
sure,
But
sure.
just King of Games, no.
Nah, it's not worth it. And I guess kind of closing thoughts on Karakuri. I think it's going to be a great deck from what we've seen. The fact that it's been only 3 days since the box has come out and it's already won a big tournament, 200 plus people tournament, is super amazing. The fact that on day two, top 16, and in other tournaments, it's making top four, top eight constantly at a very, very good conversion rate, which is the very important part. Because it's one thing to get destroyed by system down, right?
Right,
It's just next tournament, okay, I'll play it out to system down. It's just, it's just like, well, how am
right.
I going to play around system down? Am I going to play Lancia in the main deck just to avoid it? It's like that kind of stuff is whatever. But when the conversion rate is consistently good, it's not just one player constant. It's like 10 Dragoonides enter and one guy constantly makes top 32 and drops in top 8 all the time. No. It's 4 Karakuri entered, 4 topped. It's 10 Karakuri entered, or no, what was it? I think it was like 9 Karakuri entered in Meta Weekly and 5 tops. That's great. That's awesome. That's a really good conversion rate. And as people see it work, more and more people will flock to the deck as
Yeah.
well.
And we're
So
definitely going to cover that on this next Power Rankings episode, so check that out.
yeah.
And I hope we're not here in a week or two on MetaWatch update on Karakuris with hashtag Rye lied.
Right, lie, dude. I don't know. I really hope it does well. It looks very
Yeah.
strong. And if I was a guessing man, I'd say yeah, it's good. It's
I
headed
always
towards
liked the deck back in the
meta.
day, so I hope it's coming back. It's a fun deck to
Yeah,
play.
it's for sure.
All right. So if you guys like this video, you know what to do. And don't forget to get into our Discord, because that's where we host all these awesome tournaments that Rye was so deftly plugging earlier on. So I hope you guys like the video. We'll see you next time. I'm Circus. That's Rye.
See you later, YouTube.